Conversations with Z.
Greetings. Welcome to the very first episode of Conversations with Z. My name is Zama Kajeni and I look forward to engaging with you. I'm sure you're sitting there thinking, who is this Zama Kajeni and why should I be tuned in? I am a woman who is crazy in love with God. I am a daughter, a sister, and a mother. And there are just a couple of societal issues that I'm passionate about. And I've decided to step out of my comfort zone and have conversations around these issues just to empower you and also to have impact and to actually add value to your life. Over the next couple of weeks, you will get to know me better, and I, in turn, hope to also get to know you better. So I do hope that you will engage with me. I hope that you will send through your comments, that you will like, subscribe, and also maybe even share what else you would like me to tackle on this channel. Without taking any more of your time, let's get straight into the business of the day. We are a month into a new year. And of course, as we know, a new year always brings new possibilities.
Yes.
It's an opportunity to start afresh. It's an opportunity to do things differently. And you know how it gets, right? At this time of the year, we all get so excited and we get going with our New Year's resolutions.
Yes.
Yeah, Pete. I'm not here to talk about New Year's resolutions. And then life happens and then things don't go as planned. So without taking up any more time, I would like to introduce this lady that's sitting next to me. She is a mining engineer, a personal finance YouTuber, and an investor, Miss Zwanda Rasiwela.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Welcome, Zwanda.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for making time to join me today.
Thanks.
So, Zwanda, before we actually get into why you're sitting next to me today, let's start off with your name.
Mm-hmm.
It is such a beautiful name. What does it mean?
Yes. So my name is a subject of a saying in Venda. So in full, it's Zwanda Hamavu Azuferi. For me to be able to elaborate on the meaning of it, we'll have to take maybe 3 more videos to go there. But yeah, my full name is Zwanda Hamavu Azuferi. We can take it off.
But just try, because that sounds like a line.
It is a saying. It is a saying.
Okay, so just say the saying in English.
So normally people, it doesn't exist in English, but
Okay.
it's something where people will say when something continues. Like, for an example, if something surprising happens,
Okay.
and you would say, Zwanda was pretty. Something shocking happens, you would say, oh my God.
Oh, so it's like an oh my God.
Yes, it's like an oh my God.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Zwanda, I was planning on naming my second baby
don't.
Zwanda, but I'm not sold.
Please don't.
You have failed to sell your name to me. It sounds like it's just full of essence and it's impactful.
I think it is.
I thought you were
wouldn't-
going to say something like it means faith or praise.
Unfortunately, it's not of that sort, but it does have a meaning, especially with me and my journey of life. Because for me, I know that I will keep on going no matter what. So that is for me, no matter what happens, no matter how shocking, no matter how hurtful, no matter how big, I know that I will stand in my name.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that. And I think, the fact that it's the month of Jan, and you're talking about we will keep going, I think it's also then quite fitting for what we're about to discuss today. So, okay, but no, I'm not naming my child Zwanda anymore.
Please don't.
I was planning on doing that.
Please don't.
So, so Zwanda, it's a new year, right? And we've seen saving plans circulating on social media. Everyone's talking about how much they're going to be putting away every month. And that's all good and well, right? That comes with the excitement of a new year. And again, what I was alluding to earlier, was speaking about possibilities, right?
Yes.
But the reality is life happens, right? And I think before we even get into, how much are you going to put away, how much are you going to finish the year off with, let's maybe even just take a step back, right? And say, considering that it's the start of a brand new year, what should we be thinking of from a financial planning perspective?
That is really a good question. Maybe before I can even answer your question, I would like to start by saying that I love this season. I love the season of vision boarding. I love the season of goal setting. I love the season of sitting down and actually deciding on how you want your life to unfold. Because it's at that point where you have power, right, to make sure that the things which you aspire to have, to aspire to become, you can actually structure the plan of how to attain them, right? So it's the same with financial planning. I think you really need to start thinking, what is it that I want to attain? But before you can get there, like you said, you need to think, what is it about 2023 before I can go to 2024 that went well, that I would like to change in 2024? What is it about 2023 that didn't go well that I would also like to change in 2024? So the ones that went well, you want to keep. You want to be able to continuously do the things that works, right? And it's the things that actually sustain us. But the things that didn't work is the things that would really need effort from you. So you really need to think about that. Another thing, as you're planning onto or having financial planning into the year 2024 that you need to think about is that financial planning is not a separate thing for from your life. Your life goals should just be your financial plan or your financial goals should be a compensation to your life goals, because sometimes we make them separate and that's why they become hard, because we think that our finances cannot match our lives. So those are the type of things that we need to be thinking about, and understanding where we are then will help us in terms of identifying the resources that we need, identifying what exactly in terms of action plans that we need to put in place in order to get to where we want to go versus what we have failed to do and what we were lacking in the previous year.
Okay, awesome. I like that. And I think what you're saying is true. We tend to sort of isolate the finances. We tend to think that it's a separate part of our lives. So thank you. I'd never ever seen it that way. So I think that's pretty much that speaks to financial planning as a whole, as sort of goal setting and setting the tone for the year, right? Let us now unpack budgeting and saving.
Yes.
And I mean, these are terms that we use every day. These are terms that we use loosely. But do we actually all understand what budgeting is and what saving is?
So I think from my side, I like to use definition that then has a meaning, right? Because when it has a meaning to you, you will then know why you're actually budgeting. So for me, I understand budgeting as a tool that actually tells my money where it should go. So instead of me wondering where my money went, when I get my money, I already know what I want my hard-earned cash to do for me. So that's what I think about budgeting. Another word that I use for budgeting is actually a spending plan, right? It's like, how then do I want to spend my money? Right? Because sometimes we get surprised. We get surprised when we are not able to meet our needs, or our finances are not able to meet our needs, because we didn't have a plan in the first place. So if you have a plan, you will definitely make sure that your month match your salary. That's not, because most of the time you find that a week before payday, you're really struggling, right? So if you have that spending plan, the decision that you're making to say, this is how much I will spend as a pocket money per week, and every week then will be catered for. So again, like you said, budgeting, most of the time people will say income versus expenses, then disposable income. That is also okay, because it's the practical way of actually doing the actual budgeting. So one thing that I like to encourage someone who doesn't budget, who wants to start budgeting, for me, I think you need to actually go to your banking statement. Download your banking statement, understand what your spending trend is at the current moment. Right? No, you really need to match what you perceive your spending plan to be and the actual. And that's how then you can make tweaks and make sure that it matches where you actually want to go.
I like that. Now, Zanda, tell me, what happens in a case where, I'm starting off 2024 already in debt? Because that's a reality, right? for some of us.
Yes.
How do I then go about, am I even in a position to even save?
Yeah.
If I'm already in a position of being in debt, what happens in that case?
Yeah, so before I can go into debt, I'll touch into savings a bit because that's a question you asked before this one. So for savings, for me, I think about it as the plan for my future goals, right? If I want to buy a house, there are costs to buying a house, like lawyer fees, like furniture, if it's a residential, and so forth. Or maybe I want to put up a deposit. So those are the type of things that I'll think about how much they will cost and actually plan my savings based on that, depending on how long I actually want to have that house for. If I want to further my studies, there will be funds needed for me to do so. So I would save for that. So really, I think when it comes to saving, as you're doing your budgeting, you need to incorporate saving into it. And the thing which you're saving for should be what is a priority into your life. So that then along the way, like you said, during the year, when we don't have the same motivation that we have now, you don't lose that hope because you're motivated by the fact that this thing is a priority of your life. If we do not do that, if we do not plan for our future, unfortunately, we start relying on credits for us to attain those things that we wish to have, right? So, and when we are actually maybe starting the year and we are already in credit, some of the things that we need to think about is that it is possible to get out of debt. There are people who have gotten out of a 6 million debt. I know a lady who was speaking at the JSE and she has had a 6 million debt and she's out of it, right? So those type of testimony shows us that it is possible. So you need to start by believing that it's possible. And after believing that it's possible, then you need to put in the work because faith without works is dead, right? So then you need to start putting in the work. What do I mean by that? Start listing all the debts that you have at the moment and put in the percentage in terms of interest rate that you were charged on that particular debt, and also put in the amount owed on that particular debt. So you could be you can be having a clothing account, a credit card, a car, and a house. List them, right? Then you can either start with the one with the highest interest rate or start with the one with the lowest amount. I always encourage people to start with the one with the lowest amount because this one is motivating. You can conquer it, right? So if it's like a young 3,000 rand and in 3 months you would be able to have that, it's motivating for you to go and actually pay it up. When you pay that first one, the money that is remaining that you would use, maybe that is free, you use it on the second one. And this is how the only way in which you can compound yourself into paying off debt. So that's the way in which you can use actually if you are in debt right now and you're looking into freeing yourself so that you can start doing the things like saving for the future. Yes.
Okay, so you've kind of already alluded to this, and I hope that there's more for you to sort of add on. So it's good and well. It's Jan. It's February. Excited. It's a brand new year. We want to do all these amazing things, and then life just happens. Life just dishes out those lemons, right? As it turns to do. How do I then stay on course? How do I stay committed to the financial goals that I've maybe set for myself at the beginning of the year?
Yes. So I like structure, and that's why I said I like planning, I like structure, I like systems, right? Because these takes away the responsibility from me. If I have a structure or a system that can do something for me outside of myself, then I'm choosing that because I don't trust myself to always be at the same motivation as I was when I created the plan, right? So I believe that if you want to be successful in your finances, you really need to look for system structures and all kinds of systems that can allow your progression to happen without your manual intervention. For an example, if you're planning on saving, for an example, maybe you want a house next year and you want to save 12K deposits and you want to put in 2,000 rand per month so that you can get to that 12,000 in December 2024. I'd rather you automate the debit orders to go off so that whether you're happy about it, you're not happy about it, the debit order will then go off towards your goal. So no matter the feeling, no matter the emotion, then you are able to actually do so. Another system or a structure that allows you to be able to be continuous in your goals without, even when life is happening, it's having an emergency fund, right? Because things that you didn't expect happening will definitely do happen, right? Emergencies are emergencies for a reason, right? Recently, I went to do my service for my car. the service plan part of things I catered for. When they were doing service, they say, ma'am, it's time to replace your battery. I said, how much? They said, 3,000 rand. How am I supposed in January to find 3,000 rand somewhere? So life will definitely happen, and things that requires your finances will definitely happen one way or the other, sooner or later in your life. And if you don't cater for them, save for them, therefore you will have to dip into your main goal, which is maybe saving for the deposit of the house. So make sure that you have an emergency fund that even when situations that requires money from you happens, you won't dip from your long-term goal that you want to attain. So those are some of the things that you need to think about to say, how can I protect myself from deviating, and look for system structures and also accountability partners.
Yeah. I rely a lot on accountability helpers.
Yes.
Because they keep you honest, right?
Yes.
And just touching on the emergency fund, what percentage of your, let's say your net salary should it be?
I had a session with my advisor 2 weeks ago, recently, very recent. Okay. And her recommendation to me, I'll tell you what my suggestion and my plan was before this meeting, right? So her recommendation to me was that you need to have at least your 1 month worth of income net, right? But for me, I think that, 3 to 6 months, as the financial world will suggest, also makes sense. And this is why I actually think so. Before then, I never used to. I started thinking so after COVID. Before COVID, I never used to think so. I used to say 3 to 6 months worth of your income. That's a lot. Sitting on an emergency fund, that's a lot, right? I would rather be doing something with it. I have so much to do with money. And that made sense at that particular time because there was no situation such as COVID that was happening. Then COVID hit. A lot of people then were getting retrenched, sadly. A lot of people lost their job, got pay cards. Then I realized that if I was, because that's what risk and insurance come from, it's calculations of risk. If I was under these circumstances, how was I going to cater for myself? That means that I was going to sell my shares, or I was going to sell my investment, or I was going to dissolve one of my properties so that I can cater for my day-to-day life, right? Which is not ideal. So that's when the understanding of 3 to 6 months worth of your living expenses then started to make sense for me. So that's what I would recommend if you have the capacity. But if you don't, this is the way in which you can calculate your emergency in a sense of just protecting yourself from being derailed from your goal. It's thinking what can happen at this particular time that then would really frustrate me and cater for that bill. For me, it's going home, right? I love my parents so much. They're in Limpopo. So if they ever call for whatever reason and say, come back, I'm dropping everything and I'm going, that could be an emergency for me. So I need to make sure that 3,000 is there for me to be able to get there on time. So if I don't have coverage for my tires, so if anything is to happen to my tires, I want my car to be up and running. So I need to cater for all 4 of my tires also. Windscreen, I have coverage for that. But, all those things, you start thinking about them and say, these are the things that would frustrate me. And you cover for them. And that's also how you decide to take up insurances as well.
Like, just listening to you talk, and I'm just like, whew, yeah, no. My financial muscle needs to really.
It should.
Yeah, no, this year. So just in wrapping up, right?
Yes.
I think you've given us some valuable nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
I think you've really given us.
I did.
You have, and you've really given us practical examples.
Yeah.
It's really stuff that we can go away and put into action.
Yeah.
And it's measurable as well. What I like about it. But do you think there's any other budgeting or saving tips that you feel you still would like to share with us?
Yes, I think in terms of savings as well, and budgeting. Let's start with budgeting, and then I'll give you savings. I think with budgeting, there's a lot of people who think that budgeting is an administrative exercise. It's boring for me. Why should I be doing it? Or I don't earn enough, or I earn too much, right? I've heard someone say that I don't budget because I have enough.
Okay.
And for me, I think then you're missing the point of the exercise. I think for me, if you want to start budgeting and do it to the maximum, is for you to understand that it's how much you can maximize your income and to maximize the potential it has. There are people who earn 30,000, both of them. One is making too much with their money. The other one is yolling, doing you only live once activities. And in a long run, most of the time people ask questions such as, why would she do that when she's only a teacher? Why would she how does she send her kid to school when she's only a nurse, right? The thing that people do not understand is that you undermined your income. That person actually maximize their income through budgeting, understanding, no, I will only buy sugar this time, that's what budgeting is. So let's connect in a realistic term with budgeting so that then when we actually do budget, we know we are affecting our lives and the outcome of how we want to look like in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. On the saving side, people say, I don't save because I don't have enough, right? Sometimes that reason is solid. You find that a person is hired at a place that is close to the city, right? If they get to stay in the city, it will take up too much of their rent because it's in the city. If they stay too far, it will take up too much of their money through transport, right? So it's possible to not have enough, I understand. I would like to challenge this generation when it comes to saving. If you want to save the best that you can save and you feel that you don't have enough, go and find extra source of income. You can sell Avon, you can resell clothes, you can clean people's houses, you can do online courses, anything that you can get to be able to maximize your income so that you can save. It's important because it's through savings where you will be able to improve the standard of your living and change the circumstances of your life. Yep.
Okay. When I grow up, I want to be like Wanda.
Please don't. There's only one Wanda.
Just with a different name. Thank you so much
Thank you.
For those tips.
Thank you.
For the advice. I don't know about the person watching at home, but I've surely learned a lot. And as I've already said, I really will be walking away and implementing most, if not all, of what you've said. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
With your ventures. And I know that this is not our last conversation.
Definitely.
And to you watching at home, thank you. Thank you so much for your time. As I mentioned, this was the very first episode. There will be more coming. And I look forward to just hearing from you. So please do share your thoughts. What have you learned today? What will you be, rolling out in your life? And also maybe even share your commitments. And who knows, I will be your accountability partner.
Yes.
I will check in with you every now and then to say, are you still on track? But thank you for your time and hope to see you again next month with a very different type of episode. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day.